9 minutes to 8 o'clock. Well, he's one of Australia's most successful musicians. Darren Hayes has been busy too, touring the world for the last 12 months since he last visited us.
Yeah, he is now set to release a new DVD called The Time Machine Tour. Darren joins us now. Thank you very much for joining us. How busy have you been in the last year?
It's been busy, actually. I think it's hard because if I'm not in Australia, it's easy to think I'm sort of bludging. But I have been working. I have been touring around America and in England, and it's all finished and it's on this DVD.
Look, tell us about the tour. What were some of the highlights for you?
You know, the thing about the tour was kind of crazy because I spent too much money on it, but I always do. I got to work with this amazing designer called Willie Williams, who normally does things in stadiums for U2 and the Rolling Stones and George Michael. But we sort of did this very theatrical, almost like a musical representation of the album. And it had set pieces and costumes designed by the Royal Shakespeare Company and this massive bird. You have to see it to understand what I'm talking about. And incidentally, it's in a storage shed somewhere in Brisbane if anyone wants to buy it. I'll put it on eBay. But just lots of fun props and a great time. We got to play at the Royal Albert Hall, which was a dream come true for me. And of course, I got to... This show was actually filmed in my hometown in Brisbane on the final night of the tour, so it has a special significance for me.
Yeah, it must do. Now, these are sort of rock theatre. It's beyond the normal concert, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with Spinal Tap, this is not Spinal Tap, but there are definitely opportunities in the show where things could have gone horribly wrong. There's a moment in the show where I'm on this bridge, this massive bridge that sort of swings out over the audience, and every night I was so terrified I'd fall off, or there was this amazing origami bird that is sort of built on stage, and every now and then it wouldn't work, and I'd be backstage just praying, my heart pounding, thinking, please, please work. But, you know, I would like to think you know, that stuff aside, it was a very emotional tour, very fun tour. I made just some incredible friends on the way, so it was a lot of fun. Oh,
isn't that nice? And now tell us, because you travelled to so many different countries on a world tour like this, tell us the difference in fans. Do you notice a difference between the different fans and their reactions to different parts of the show?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. I think everyone says this about Asian audiences, that they're extremely polite, and you know, they'll sort of wait and until you're definitely finished the song before they applaud. I mean, I'm probably spoiled because Australian audiences are where I began, so I tend to prefer them. I don't know, there's an American enthusiasm that I'm often not quite prepared for. I get a bit embarrassed by that. And then the English thing is a bit different. Sometimes in England they can kind of cross their arms and wait until you impress them. LA can be like that as well. But, you know, all in all, I think people pay money because they want to be entertained. And if you walk into the show and the stage knowing that they just want to have a good time, then, you know, you're halfway there.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Now, speaking of fans, we've been contacted by a die-hard fan of yours. Her name is Casey. She's tattooed truly, madly, deeply on her stomach. She's showing us that in some photos we're showing on screen now. She wanted us to ask you when you'll be back in Perth to perform. She misses you, Darren.
Well, wow. I don't even have a tattoo, so that's hardcore. I'm impressed by that. I don't know how someone could... You know, I'm always flattered when someone does that, but I always think, God, what if I make a really bad album one day? What if you don't like me anymore and you have to go and get me laser removed from your body?
They'll always be truly, madly, deeply.
Now,
yeah, exactly.
If you're not
we started the Ausleg in Perth, actually, so... Sorry, go ahead.
OK, but what about an album, then? If you don't have immediate plans to get to Perth, are you going back in the studio?
I'm going to try to take some time off. I haven't really taken any time off since the beginning of Savage Garden. I say this a lot, but I think when the band ended, I was just so terrified that my career would be over that I just kind of, you know, got back into the studio and maybe started a little bit too early. And I think over the last few years, I've really felt comfortable in my shoes, and I love the last couple of things I've done. I just want to enjoy it a bit, I think. I'm going to write songs for some other people. and
good.
see what happens.
Oh, you bludger your first holiday after 15 years. We won't begrudge you that.
Well, I say that, but here I am at midnight talking to you, so there you go.
And we thank you for doing it. The DVD is out now. It was a sensational concert tour, and you can relive it again, or if you missed it, you can catch up. Darren Hayes, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. Thanks.